end of the day, trans people are less than 1% of the population, and trans people are not the reason you can't afford eggs. We're not the reason that you can't afford healthcare. We're not the reason that you can't buy a house or your rent's too high.
Yeah.
I think they're focused on the wrong 1%.
Ooh.
I think the other 1% is the reason for all those things. No, I'm not going anywhere. I have a TV show on Prime Video, honey. I can't go anywhere.
So that was Laverne Cox giving Democrats a lesson on how to respond to Trump's attacks on trans people, saying like you're focusing on the wrong 1%. The billionaires are in charge. Yaz, what's your reaction?
Yeah, I love that she said that, right? People need to feel as though they have some sort of control over the world they live in. And I think that that's why they tend to punch down. They try to pick something that looks a little scary. And by scary, I mean unfamiliar to them. And then they say, that's the problem. That's why everything in this country is going off the rails, because people in this country are living wrong, according to whatever their personal standard of living right is. They want to feel safe. But the problem is that by protecting their very exclusionary sense of safety often means destroying someone else's sense of safety. And the fact that Laverne Cox, who is a transgender person with a big platform, is saying on The View, which is, it's not popular with our audience, but it has been on for a long, long time because it does have a big audience somewhere. People need to be talking about the fact that the 1%, the people at the top, are the ones who are keeping the prices of your eggs so high. They're the ones preventing you from having healthcare. They're the ones who won't let you do direct file on your taxes. They're the ones who are preventing you from buying a house and who have kept you from that American dream. And that conversation is actually a conversation now outside of progressive circles. I feel like we've been talking about that for so long here on TYT. Now it's becoming more of a mainstream talking point, which that's kind of the curse of being a progressive, is that you're always going to be ahead of that conversation. So you're always going to feel frustrated and waiting for everyone else to catch up to certain things. But it feels like it's finally happening. The problem is that it had to become so obvious and so transparent before the rest of the country finally bought in. But if you look, a lot of right-wing pundits and influencers, they're starting to say the same things.
Yeah, are they doing anything? This is the thing, Laverne Cox said plenty of normal things that make sense. Maybe I'm over it, maybe because I listened to it for so long. When are we gonna do something different? It's fine to say it, it's fine to give the different perspective. And maybe the point in saying truth like that is to maybe ring a bell in some people's heads, have the light go off. And it just isn't happening. People who know now, because it's pretty obvious what's been going on and what we're seeing. So anybody who doesn't understand the realities of our situation, you're wasting your energy and your breath on them. Please stop talking to the people who obviously want what's happening. So the next step is, once enough people, as you mentioned, Yaz, from other points of view, begin to realize it, let's go ahead and start doing something. It doesn't mean you have to go and try and kowtow to them or appeal to them or any of that stuff. What you have to do is just organize yourself and prepare for your own life to respond to the things that they're doing, because enough people are gonna experience the pain and the oppression that these guys are trying to put on them if they get their way. That's why we fight back. But if they get their way, you just have to be prepared to then move on and then survive, continue to, because it could get that bad. So I think the time for convincing and one-liners is kind of over.
Yeah, and there's a lot of arguments that are happening right now, but one bit of advocacy is, the people on the left just need to be wildly advocates for the working class. And there's Laverne Cox doing what every disciplined political messenger needs to do. Is if this is what the right's doing. They're saying you know why eggs are so expensive? Trans athletes in sports. And by the way, that woman who was a boxer is a man. No, she wasn't. They believe a lot of nonsense. And the faster and more directly you can point it to what the actual problem is, the stuff you can galvanize people around. That's I think the way forward. AOC, this is a thing that Cenk points out a lot, is have the optimism to think you can win over people who are reasonable. Have the optimism to say that there are folks out there that if we frame things correctly and remind them that you're being robbed blind by the rich, and they're trying to further blind you and pull the wool over your eyes by pointing to problems that aren't real. They want you to be miserable. The leaders on the right want you to be miserable. And so all the things they tell you that they're gonna fight for to make you happy, you're gonna get them if you're a right winger. You're gonna get trans people can't play basketball in 4th grade, but I guarantee you're still gonna be miserable. And the way you would be happier is if you go for the left-wing populist stuff of trying to have jobs in America, services for Americans, paid family leave and the like.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.